Joining me now with more is the CEO of Moderna, Stéphane Bancel, joining me right now. Stéphane, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning, Maria. It's good to see you. Thank you for having me.
I want to talk about this great success that you have had with Merck, and your scientists have reported real breakthroughs with regard to cancer and your phase trials this year and at the end of last year. What can you tell us, Stéphane?
Yeah, so we're indeed very excited. We've been working on this for almost 10 years now, so it's a lot of investment in innovation with Merck. It's basically an individualized treatment for cancer. So the data we shared is about skin cancer, melanoma, which, as you know, a lot of people die from every year and other people are diagnosed with. And what is really unique about this drug called intismeran is that it's individualized, meaning if you and I were diagnosed the same day by the same doctor with skin cancer, Moderna will make a different medicine for your cancer and the medicine for my cancer. And that will be done in around 30 days. And as you said, the results are really exciting. If you look at the study, it was a phase 2 study, 157 people. It was randomized, so it was a real study. And what is really interesting is we saw a recurrence-free survival, meaning people not dying from their disease or getting the disease coming back. At 5 years, we saw a 50% improvement versus people getting Keytruda, Merck's blockbuster medicine, which has saved so many lives. And so as you see, this is very meaningful for patients, and we are very excited because this year we should get the phase 3 study result for that medicine, and hopefully if it's positive, we should be able to file very quickly with the FDA to get this to American people to save them with their disease. So we're very excited.
Well, this is very exciting for sure. So, Stéphane, when Moderna is working with Merck's cancer vaccine, of course, Keytruda, it actually reduced the melanoma relapse and the death risk by, as you just said, 49% when combined with Keytruda. And this is 5-year data from phase 2B trials, right? And what other impact in terms of cancers have you been able to identify? What other types of cancer?
Yes, Maria. So we are right now with 9 different studies ongoing with Merck across the world in lung cancer, in kidney cancer, in bladder cancer. We also have some early studies with this technology on gastric cancer, also pancreas cancer. So we're just trying to go and explore what this technology can do to help people. We believe in the mechanism of action. By individualizing the treatment, we're able to target your immune system to go and to basically direct it to your cancer in a more precise way. What is also very interesting is that the safety profile is really quite interesting. There is no additional safety risk or side effect from the treatment versus what we're seeing with Keytruda alone. So you see a huge benefit for the patients and the families with no downside of side effects. So that's why it's also so exciting.
That is incredible. Well, we will be following that closely, and I want to congratulate your scientists for that. Stéphane, at the last analyst meeting when you spoke with Wall Street analysts, you talked about 2027 being a key growth year for the company, driven by the potential to capture a slice of that $1.75 billion respiratory virus vaccine market in the European Union. You also talked about growth from long-term partnerships in Latin America. I want to get your take on the vaccine and the core vaccine business, which, of course, is critical at Moderna because the Trump administration is issuing new guidance on vaccinations for Americans. Here now is Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. on the new vaccine guidance. Watch this.
Today, a compliant child must take between 69 and 92 vaccines to stay in school in some states. And not one of them has been safety tested in a pre-licensing placebo-controlled trial. And that is just malpractice. So the people who were in charge of that are now gone. And we're going to bring people onto the ACIP panel, not anti-vaxxers. We're bringing people on who are credentialed scientists, who are highly credentialed physicians, who are going to do evidence-based medicine, who are going to be objective, and who are going to follow the science and make critical public health determinations for our children based upon the best science.
Stéphane, what is your reaction, and how is this changing your investment strategy in the vaccine business?
Sure. So, as you know, Maria, we are a science-based company, and we always look at the data and the facts to be able to protect people. And we look, of course, at the efficacy of our product and safety, and we take safety very, very seriously. In the case of Moderna, we have now 3 products approved by the FDA that actually some of them got approved just last year under this new administration. And if you look at the data of Spikevax was done with placebo control. This was how the vaccine was tested. As you know, the safety database has been very extensive because this vaccine has been one of the most used vaccines in the world. So we continue to work with health regulators around the world to figure out the best path forward to focus on people at high risk. Because as you know, the FDA has issued guidance around COVID last spring, focusing on people at high risk that have comorbidity factor or because of their age or because of both. Yeah, they're older and they have a comorbidity factor. And those are the people that benefit the most. And we are exactly going into that direction.
What are you expecting in terms of the COVID vaccine? Obviously, it's not as important or not as impactful to the company at this point, and analysts are expecting a decline in sales. What can you tell us about that?
Sure. So as you know, the company has worked really hard in 2020, 21, 22 to be able to provide vaccines to get us out of the pandemic. Over the last few years, we basically right-sized the company to adapt to the fact that, of course, we always knew there was going to be much less use of a vaccine as you go into an endemic setting. It's really focusing on people at high risk now. And so this has happened. And now what is exciting for us is the momentum we are seeing in 2026 and then into 2027. The momentum is about basically growing again. We're growing again because we have partnership around the world, including in some countries where we have long-term partnership. And also we are launching new products. All the investment we made in science allows us to launch new products. We've launched now 3 products that are approved by regulators. We should see more approvals this year. We could be sitting at the end of 2026 with up to 5 products approved. And so as we diversify the portfolio of products, and as we launch product in more and more countries around the world, the company is growing again this year and potentially even further in 27 as Europe, as you said earlier, is reopening its market for us.
And what does that mean in terms of your continued focus on cost cutting, Stéphane? What are your expenditures expectations for this year?
Yeah, so we expect to continue to reduce costs, not as much as last year. Last year, the team did a tremendous job of resizing. We basically took $2 billion of cost out of the company in a single fiscal year. This year it will be more modest, but we'll continue to reduce costs because we also have to invest in the future. As we just spoke about cancer, we have 9 ongoing studies. As you know, those are big and expensive. We also are investing in rare genetic disease. And so those investments are important to build the future of a company. So the momentum has changed, and 2026 is going to be a very exciting year for us.
Stéphane, what is your take? I know this is not your business, but what is your take on what's going on with these GLP-1 drugs? Have you ever seen this kind of euphoria around a class of drugs? I mean, you know, your competitor Pfizer just made an enormous acquisition just to get a foothold in that business when it announced the acquisition of Metsera. Even though that's, you know, Pfizer's not going to have a GLP-1 drug on the market till at least 2027. How do you see that market, Stéphane?
So I'm not an expert. Let me start there in this market. I'm, of course, reading and following it closely, given it's an important development in our industry and for public health. What is exciting is if you look at the clinical data, there's really huge benefit for people, as you can see it in published data in terms of cardiovascular, into blood pressure, kidney disease. And so I think as this class of drugs develop, hopefully the clinical data that is published confirms the expansion of a use and the benefit for patients. And I think as we are living in an aging population, you know, prevention of disease is the best thing, which is why we believe in vaccines. We believe the best thing we can do for people's health and the quality of our life, but also to reduce costs for the healthcare system, is to prevent disease. So vaccines prevent hospitalization. GLPs prevent, you know, cardiovascular disease and other disease down the road. And if you think about it, as we all age as a society, sometimes people don't die of a disease, but the quality of life is massively impacted. And so if we can restore people's life and they can enjoy their life, I think that's one of the biggest benefits of what we're doing in this industry through innovation.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to me because, initially we were talking about a market for diabetes and weight loss, and now we're talking about an impact on, as you say, cardiovascular and perhaps dementia. I mean, it's amazing the impact that those drugs have had. Stéphane, I know that Moderna is also collaborating with Italian pharmaceutical company Headquartered to advance the company's drug for the rare metabolic disorder propionic acidemia. Tell us about that partnership.
Sure. So as you know, since the beginning of a company, we thought this technology, mRNA, can be used to help kids and families with a rare genetic disease. So this is a rare genetic disease, as you said, of metabolism, of eating. It's basically in the liver that those kids don't have the right protein that you and I have. And because of that, there's a lot of acid being built in their blood and impacting their brain. And it's a very terrible disease. There's no drug today on the market. And so as we thought about how do we maximize the impact on those kids and those families, how do we accelerate penetration, assuming a positive phase 3 study at the end of this year, the phase 1/2 was very exciting. We are now kids 3 years on our medicines doing extremely well. And so Headquartered has already a relationship with those doctors. They understand the disease because they're providing a product to help those kids with that disease. And so we thought it was going to accelerate the impact of those kids and those families. And so we thought it was a win-win for patients and for the world.
Very, very exciting. Stéphane, as you know, the president has been trying to get drug prices down. More than a dozen major drug companies signing the most favored nation deals with the Trump administration since September to work on reining in drug prices for Americans and make other wealthy countries pay higher prices for new drugs to offset the cost. Companies making deals included Pfizer, Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, Merck, AstraZeneca. What's your reaction to the most favored nations program at the Trump administration and these efforts?
I think it's important that all the countries around the world, especially the rich countries, contribute to innovation. Without innovation, this industry will not survive, and this will impact Americans. And so we need to have people from around the world contributing to value through the products so that innovation can continue. We are living in an amazing time. If you think there's an exponential knowledge about biology and how the body works, that is ongoing every day. It's enabled by big data, by AI. And when we have that knowledge, we as an industry can innovate new medicine. We just spoke about the GLP-1s. Look at what our vaccines did during the pandemic. This is American innovation. And so if you think about it, we need to have all the developed countries contributing to this innovation so everybody can benefit.
Yeah, you're right. And that's why, I was unnerved during COVID when you were asked, and a number of companies were asked to share the backdrop and the quote-unquote recipe for the COVID vaccine, because how are you going to get long-term investors to invest and back the kind of innovation you're talking about if you're just going to give it away?
Exactly. This is very important. Patent protection is very important. Those investments sometimes takes 5-10 years. And as you know, most medicines that go into clinical trials fail. And because they don't have a right safety efficacy profile, they are not approved, which is the right thing for society. So it means that we need the investments to go toward those medicines. I'm really excited about all the things that are happening in science around the world. We started this discussion talking about this huge innovation we are bringing with Merck for cancer patients. We are all have been touched. Many of us are touched as we speak through friends and family with cancer. So this innovation that Moderna is bringing with Merck is a type of innovation we want to see more of, and those needs investments.
And you had this oncology event where lots of people came away incredibly optimistic from what you have taken away and identified with regard to your partnership with Merck. Stéphane, when can we have more details on that? When are you expecting more on this oncology success?
Yes, so this year is going to be very exciting because we should get clinical data on a lot of different tumor types, potentially kidney. The phase 3 for melanoma should come this year. I say should because those are event-driven, so you don't control the timing precisely. But the factory is ready. It's, again, American investments. All the manufacturing process is done in Massachusetts, so those products will be fully made in America. And as soon as we get the data with Merck, we're already preparing the filing to the FDA so that we can save time down the road. And so as soon as we have data, we'll be preparing the filing, and hopefully the medicine will be available if it's approved by the regulators in 2027 in America. That would be amazing.
That would be amazing. And of course, great point that this is manufactured in America as you continue to invest in the U.S. Stéphane, you've got your fourth quarter earnings coming out next Friday. So, of course, I know you'll be guarded in terms of what you want to say here. But where does the growth and the rest of the year growth and into 27 come from at Moderna?
Yes, so most of the growth this year in 26 will come from growth international. In the US, we expect the market to be similar to what we saw in 2025. But in the international market, especially, we have a very long-term partnership in Canada, UK, Australia. We've done also a lot of partnership in Latin America, in Asia. And so the growth of a company will come from outside the US, and also from launches of a product that was approved by the FDA last year in the US with a full year impact in 26. So it's going to be an exciting growth, full of momentum for us.
All right, and we'll be watching that and, of course, waiting on the impact of your data from the phases on the oncology success there and its impact on tumors with regard to melanoma specifically. Stéphane, great to have you this morning. We so appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me, Maria. Have a great day.
And to you. Stéphane Bancel is the CEO of Moderna.